I, Tonya, is the movie. It opens with a few short clips from interviews, and then jumps back in time to show us a dramatization of Tonya Harding's childhood. Where does that story begin? At a skating rink. An ice skating rink, although roller rinks were also popular at the time. There's a figure skating lesson in progress, and a woman who seems out of place. Is it the boots that look like they walked straight in from the parking lot? Even more than them, it's the cigarette between her fingers. And it's the way she takes a long drag just before she calls to the skating instructor, making the come here gesture with the same fingers. The coach skates over and lets her know right away that she's breaking the rules.
Mrs. Harding.
It's Lavana.
I'm so sorry, but there's no smoking on the ice.
So now she knows. But does she care?
I'm so sorry, but there's no smoking on the ice.
Oh, well, I'll smoke it quietly then.
No, she definitely doesn't care.
Oh, well, I'll smoke it quietly then.
Now, before I show you the translation, I need to make sure we're on the same page. So I'm going to explain the joke. Sorry, but here goes. The first thing to understand is that she's not going to stop smoking, no matter what the rules say. She's not going to listen, but she doesn't want to fight either. Her goal is to get her daughter into the class, and starting a fight would put that goal at risk. So, she makes a joke. That's less confrontational, but you might also feel it's even more obnoxious. A well-placed joke can defuse a tense situation. A less well-placed joke can seem extra disrespectful. Which do you think this is? Anyway, what's the problem with smoking? It's linked with many health problems, and it involves fire, which can cause injuries and accidents. When it builds up, it can stain your teeth and your clothes and your wallpaper and so on. And of course, it smells bad. But is it noisy? Smoking is already a quiet activity, so what she says is playfully illogical. She speaks in a way that makes you think, for an instant, that she's going to comply, as any reasonable person would. But then she says quietly, and for another instant, your brain struggles to process the lack of logic. But at the same time, you see the face she makes, and it all makes sense. The setup is the expectation that she's going to stop smoking. The twist is that she isn't. The punchline is the illogical quietly. That's the joke. She's refusing to cooperate, but she's still comfortable enough to crack wise. And the coach, who still wants to be polite, has no way to handle this except to sigh. So, like it or not, Lavana wins this exchange. We will eventually see her as one of the main villains of this story, and this scene is our first taste of that. The other villains, while dangerous, are clowns, but Lavana is clever and calculating. How did they translate this?
I'm so sorry, but there's no smoking on the ice.
Pretty straightforward. They chose to say rink instead of ice, but that doesn't really change the meaning or anything.
Oh, well, I'll smoke it quietly then.
Here's the problem. Kossori means in secret, being sneaky. So, if you read this subtitle, it's logical to think she's going to hide that she's smoking. That's a compromise that would change her character and change what she's asking the coach to swallow. Doing something secretly does sometimes mean doing it quietly, like tiptoeing around someone who's asleep. It might make sense in a context like that to translate quietly as kossori, but sneaking a smoke is about not being seen or smelled. Sound doesn't matter. If you just read, "I'll hide it," your brain will make a logical conclusion about how she can hide the cigarette, but whatever you imagine will be different from the illogical quietly. And without the illogical, there is no joke. Did they not get the joke? Or did they just give up on translating it? Is the dub any better? Let's listen.
ハーディングさん、
ラボナだ、そう呼んで。
申し訳ないんですがリンクの上は禁煙なんです。
ああ、そう。
The meaning of this part is the same, but it just flows so differently. The subtitle is telegraphic in comparison. Moving on.
ああ、そう。じゃあ静かにするよ。
What? Shizukani? It's right? Why is it right? If this one is right, why isn't the subtitle right? Was it translated by two different teams? Didn't they have a meeting? A little later in the same conversation, the coach asks little Tonya, she's been standing there this whole time,
How old are you, honey?
Lavana doesn't give her a chance to answer.
How old are you, honey?
She's a soft 4.
She's taking another puff at the beginning.
She's a soft 4.
What does this answer mean? Soft is a really common word. Because it's such a fundamental idea, it's used in many different ways. The thing to be careful of here is that soft is not describing the kid. It's describing the number. The coach has already said she won't train Tonya because she's a beginner. And Lavana can sense that she's about to say she's too young. So she's trying to push her to bend the rules. This line means that Tonya isn't 4. She's almost 4. If Lavana had let her answer, she would have proudly said, "I'm 3. So how about a subtitle like Yonsai Jak? Instead, they think it should be this.
How old are you, honey?
She's a soft 4.
I can understand the confusion. Soft is used to talk about people. Sometimes it's about a person's physique, but more often it's about their personality. They're not strict, or they're easy to convince or to trick. Actually, in one of the interview scenes, Lavana says this.
She's always a handful. And I guess we spoiled her.
So, a similar amai idea is in there, but not in this scene. This scene is about getting the coach to accept Tonya, which would be easier if she were older. Maybe the dub got this one right too. Let's check.
あなたいくつ？
甘ったれの4歳。
Nope. Guess not.